So the next one I wanted to show you is very different styles, very similar sort of type of idea and layout, just of using gaps between things. But this one is a really quick and simple card. So I've used a coloured cardstock base. I've used soft succulent to use it up. And the paper is these rather gorgeous foiled papers. What are they called? Dry brushed metallic papers. And they're just lovely. And I open that, but hopefully you can see on here just how much it shimmers and shines. It's beautiful paper. But the background of it is soft succulent, which is why I used that as a back. And then it's got this sort of gold, champagne-y gold. I've used a simple cut foil gold star to put on the cross to put on the front. But I've used the champagne foil behind here. I can't actually decide which is better. I tried them both out and I still can't decide. However, I thought I'd make it in the other colour. There are two colours in the dry brushed one. On the other one, I've used Cajun Craze as the background. So this one I think is going to be a retiring colour. So I'm glad I've used some of it up. So for this card, you need a piece of foil that you're going to cut your cross out of. So this is the one I've said before, which is 9 centimetres by 6 centimetres. And I'm going to measure 2 inches in from either side and 5.5 in from the bottom, and then a 2-inch gap there. So I'll show you how I do it. This is how I've done these. So if you haven't got any dies you can make these things out of, don't worry, because you can use your eye and a pair of scissors. So I'm marking that in 2 inches each side and the same at the bottom. So that's my long ways. So just join those up together. And then I'm going to measure 5.5 up from the bottom for 5.5 and 2 inches above that. So it's rough 2 centimetres. Yeah, roughly 2 centimetres. I don't know. Actually, that looks a bit too big to me. I'm going to make it 1.5, which is 2 down from the top and then 5.5 up from the bottom. Changed my mind on this one. Let's see if it looks any better. So again, just going to join those lines up. So there's my markings just on the back, and then I can cut these out to give me my cross. So I'm going to be quite careful cutting them because I'm obviously cutting them this side. Don't want to cut into the line, so I'm going to be very careful to just go up to my mark so that I'm not cutting into my cross. I will do this quite quickly, so I probably won't do it perfectly. So we'll see if this looks, it might look a bit too tall at the top, we'll see. You can decide which you like best. I quite like that one. Play around, use your dies, play around with different sizes, see what you like. So that one's got slightly narrower. It is about 1.5 actually I've done on that. Yeah, I quite like that one. That's okay. I mean, the sizes are up to you. They don't actually matter. So again, I have already cut, this is the champagne. I really can't decide, so I've left one of each just for fun. And again, I've already stamped my Easter Blessings greeting, which I can punch out. And I've already got the back for it, that's fine. So I've used very vanilla because I think it goes better with Cajun Craze than white. White's a little bit too strong, to be honest, for Cajun Craze. So I've used vanilla. So that makes up my sentiment. I'm going to put that together to let it dry, because sticking onto foil of any sort, let it dry, because it will just take a little bit longer to stick than if you're sticking just plain card to plain card. So this is my bit for my inside. I need to do some sort of decoration on it. So I am going to use, this one is actually, this sentiment is actually from the Springtime Joy set. May the new life of spring bring you joy. So I shall use that as my sentiment inside. And just because I've got them out, for no other good reason, oh no, I know what I can do. I can get in the Daffodil Daydream set, I suddenly noticed this little stamp, which I thought was rather nice. And that, to me, is very similar to the pattern on the DSP. It's sort of splodgy random. So let me just get a pad for that. So I'm going to use the dots, actually. And I'll use Daffodil Delight simply because it's the one I've got out. So I'm going to use that as the decoration for my inside of my card rather than a flower or anything else. So I'll have that on the card. Yeah, I quite like that. And to match, I shall use it on the envelope too. Because I do like my envelopes to match my cards. So rather like that little splodgy stamp. I may well use that more and more. We shall see. I haven't yet perused the retiring list is coming out. I think it is out. I haven't actually had a chance to look at it. So I'm rather hoping Daffodil Daydream stays around because I've slightly fallen in love with it, having used it last week. And I used it for my Mother's Day card as well. So yeah, I really like that stamp set. So I do hope that one doesn't go. So that's my inside. So I'll just put that in. And then on the front, I've got my strips. Now, I did cut these out of one whole piece. I can't remember the size I cut them. I thought I'd written it down, but I hadn't. So I cut them I've cut them 10 by 12 and then cut each at 4 centimetres. And my trimmer blade clearly needs replaced because I've got little tails on some of these I'll just get rid of. So if your trimmer doesn't cut them terribly well, don't worry, you can use your scissors just to run along the edge. You're not cutting it, you're just cutting off the little... I've now got a little shower of bits. What the heck? I'm a messy crafter, as you know. So I need to get these in order, roughly. Right. So again, this is a very simple card. I just want to stick these to the card. Just checking for any comments. I've now put my paper on this. I can't even see Facebook anymore. It's fine. So just this is, you can see from this one, I'm not really measuring, but how I put these together, I'm just going to put the top and the bottom one and then add the middle in the middle. So I want a little bit of a gap at the bottom. I want the same sort of gap at the top. There, and then I can just put this other one in the middle. And as long as there's some symmetry, so now I've got little narrow gaps in the middle, that doesn't matter. It's totally up to you how you want to lay them out. I could have pushed those up and down a bit, doesn't really matter. I quite like that. And then very simply, all I do then, except I've lost my dimensionals again, here we go. All I'm doing then is sticking the cross on with dimensionals. And sticking the greeting on with dimensionals. But how quick and simple is that as a card? And how beautiful. If you have really nice, some of these specialty designer series papers are just gorgeous. And you really want them to be the stars. I don't want my images to take away from the beauty of the paper. So I think the simplicity of this card just really called to me. I saw a similar thing done somewhere else. I can't remember who. So apologies for any... that's it. Any demonstrator who's gone, I made that card. We all have similar ideas, I'm sure. But there's the card. So you can decide whether you prefer the soft succulent or the Cajun craze one. I don't think I can decide. I like them both.